Happy St. Patty's Day, Washington Commanders Nation. As the offseason continues to go, Washington has added another name on the long CVS-style receipt list of free agent acquisitions of the 2024 offseason. We have now signed cornerback Noah Igbinoghene, former first-round pick, formerly of the Cowboys last year. He was originally drafted by the Miami Dolphins with the 30th pick of the COVID draft. You know, the Cam Curl, Chase Young draft class, the 2020 class that Washington now has not one player on the roster. We just added a player from that draft class, Noah Igbinoghene, 5'11 corner, 5'11", 193-pound cornerback, formerly of the Cowboys and Dolphins. He was traded to Dallas last year to replace Kelvin Joseph, the rapper, the rapper slash cornerback, formerly of the Cowboys. So another Cowmanther, if you're counting them that way, but didn't get much time in Dallas. Only got 20 or so snaps on the field. He's only started 5 games in his career, and he hasn't exactly panned out as a starting corner. He was drafted to Miami behind 2 bona fide number 1 corners in Byron Jones and Xavier Howard, and then eventually they added Jalen Ramsey to that roster. So he was technically buried within that cornerback room and was just never quite able to pan out as the first round talent he was drafted to be. I believe his only career highlight to date was he caught a game-winning, game-sealing interception off bum-ass Kenny Pickett on Sunday Night Football versus the Pittsburgh Steelers a year or 2 ago. But we're getting a clean slate here with Noah Igbinoghene. And yeah, that name is a whole mouthful. Don't mind me. But we're getting probably a familiar face, Rashad Wildgoose, Tariq Fields Castro. We're getting a depth slash special teams slash we'll see if he fits in the system. Maybe at 24 years old, he can find a niche. He can find a role here in this defense, but do not count on this being one of our starting corners. So far, all we know in our starting cornerback room is Benjamin St-Juste and Emmanuel Forbes. A starting corner will be acquired at some point this offseason. This is not that. This is a depth guy, new familiar Wildgoose Fields Castro adjacent player who has the youth and the upside to earn himself a spot and a role on the defense. But if you expect him going out to be your number 1 cornerback or starting across from St-Juste or one of those guys, don't think so. But like I was telling you in my last video about the Greg Newsome thing, that turns out could be a big nothing burger, but we'll see. He is still being shopped league-wide. Dan Quinn and Joe Witt can develop corners. So we should have full confidence that whatever their decision is at the cornerback position, that's not a position we need to worry about, because they can actually develop those guys, unlike our last coaching staff. Them in combination with Jason Simmons, they're going to get them boys right at the cornerback position. But I'm not going to spend too much longer on this acquisition, but I think it's just a depth special team signing, and we'll see from there. Don't expect to see too much Noah Igbinoghene on the cornerback rotation in 2024 and beyond. But at 24 years old, former first-round pick, you never know. At Auburn, he was a baller. He was a wide receiver turned cornerback convert. So he's a guy who started as an offensive player, ended up as a defensive player, and made his way to the first round, the end of the first round of that weird 2020 draft where COVID and the pandemic took over the world. So you know how things get lost in translation during that year. Just under a 5.5 40 at 4.48, meaning he has more than enough speed, but not exactly a burner at his position. Washington will still be in the hunt at the cornerback position, whether that's via trade, via free agency, or via one of these 1,000 picks we have in the NFL draft. And about that NFL draft, Washington's fate was made a lot clearer yesterday as Justin Fields was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Bears have offloaded their current quarterback. They are clearly going Caleb Williams with the first pick, meaning Washington's destiny is now set. It is Drake Maye versus Jaden Daniels, and if you want to, versus J.J. McCarthy for the Washington Commanders. We are looking at the Michigan, LSU, and UNC quarterback for that second pick for the team. You don't have to sit here and have a civil war with fans over the guy you want, because regardless of how you feel, Adam Peters and company are going to sit at the table. They're going to have the scouts stand on a table for their guy. They're going to have the coaching staff stand on the table for their guy, and they're all going to have opinion on their guy as well. I trust the process, and I trust the people running the process for the selection of this quarterback. Whoever they decide to go with, I'm going to support them wholeheartedly, 10 toes down, because I like the situation we're putting this quarterback in, especially in comparison to the situations we've put guys in the past. We've never been quite on the same page when it comes to drafting a quarterback. Either the owner wanted him and the coach didn't, the coach wanted him, the owner didn't. It was always some lopsided juxtaposition, and the synergy was never on one. We were never in complete lockstep in selecting and developing a quarterback. And we're now in the most ideal situation to put a quarterback in. Well, we have a general manager and a head coach on the exact same timeline, hired at the same time with the exact amount of years on their contract. You're getting a first-round quarterback, meaning you get that fifth-year option, meaning the quarterback, the head coach, and the general manager are all married together on the same timeline. One does not keep their job without the other. Love it. Drake Maye, Jaden Daniels, or even maybe J.J. McCarthy, come on down. One of you three is going to be a Washington Commander. Tomorrow, Mock Draft Monday, will continue on the channel. I'll be doing my post-free agency Washington Commander 7-round mock draft, and we're going to play the should Washington stick at 2 or actually consider trading back game. You know where I stand on it. I'm 100% 10 toes down on the stick and pick the goddamn quarterback at 2. But we have to discuss all options on the channel. I'm not going to limit myself in content by not discussing all options for the team. So we're going to have a stick it to versus trade back conversation. You know where I stand on the mix, but you see teams starting to wheel and deal. The Vikings have acquired a second first-round pick and now have 11 and 23 in the draft class. They could be looking to shoot their way into the top 5. So they're an option. The Raiders are looking to weasel their way into the top 5 for a quarterback. And you know they love Jaden Daniels. They have one of his former coaches, Antonio Pierce, head coaching that football team. The Denver Broncos just ate almost $100 million just to get rid of Russell Wilson. Their best quarterback on their roster right now is Nate Stidham. They're looking to weasel their way up for a quarterback. So there are options. The options are endless if you do decide I like more than one guy and I'm comfortable trading back in this class. But you know where I stand on the mix. I want Washington to select a quarterback at 2, rinse their hands of the situation, get a guy in here, and there will be no competition. He will be handed the job on day 1 and developed and taking his lumps and growing from them immediately. We got Sam Howell out of the building. Nobody needs to watch any weeks of Marcus Mariota starting football in 2024. But that's where I stand on the matter right now. Washington signs a corner, Noah Igbinoghene, and Washington's fate has been made clear at number 2 now that Chicago has offloaded Justin Fields. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. I'm seeing another Rashad Wildgoose, Tariq Fields Castro, depth signing, Christian Holmes type guy because he has special teams versatility as well. Don't see any special from him despite the fact that he's 24 and is a former first-round pick. But with guys that can develop, who knows? Maybe he could be another Deron Bland type situation where he develops into an absolute dog. Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn know what they're doing with defensive backs, so trust the process. But I think we are far from done from acquiring talent at the cornerback position because I don't think just running it back merely with St. Juice and Forbes is an ideal plan going into 2024, but we're going to see what Adam Peters and Dan Quinn think of that position going forward. That's all I got for right now. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Stay safe if you're out having a good time today. Until next time, Rio out.